session of Soul Fire Ascension with Raven and Jessamy. Raven is an aura past life regression and clinical hypnotherapist, a quantum galactic Akashic reader, raw Reiki angelic alchemy healing practitioner. For questions or booking sessions, you can message her at ravenshealingarts.com or on Facebook as Ravens Healing Art. Jessamy is a psychic medium, shadow Reiki practitioner, tarot reader, paranormal investigator. For questions or session bookings, you can message her at thesacredshadowfw@gmail.com or on Facebook as Jessamy Green. You can also listen to Soul Fire Ascension on Spotify. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we hope you enjoy the show. Greetings! Welcome to another session of Soul Fire Ascension. I'm Raven, and
I'm Jessamy. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
And we'd like to welcome back Lilith. And for those of you who do not remember Miss Lilith, we do have her video for you. So let me pull that up. Fire Ascension welcomes the fabulous Lilith Dorsey M.A. Her traditional education focused on plant science, anthropology, and film at the URI, NYU, and University of London. She hails from many magical traditions, including Voodoo Priestess, and has been doing magic since 1991. For patrons, filmmaker of documentary Bodies of Water, Voodoo Identity and Transformation, and choreographer/performer for Dr. John's Night Tripper Voodoo Show. She is a published Black author of Voodoo and Afro-Caribbean Paganism. Her titles are Orishas, Goddesses, and Voodoo Queens, Water Magic, and her latest, Tarot Every Which Way. Join us live June 14th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you missed the live show, you can catch the replay on YouTube at Soul Fire Ascension or listen to Soul Fire Ascension on Spotify. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Yay!
Yay!
There we
Thank
go.
you so much for having me back. Hooray!
Well, thank you for coming back. We appreciate it. We always love seeing you on board, Lilith. You're just a wonderful woman, and it's always wonderful to spend time with you.
Aw, thank you. I have so much fun talking to both of you, so this is going to be great.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, so we hear your book has been delayed because I ordered it. I pre-ordered it when you were on our show last time, so I really can't wait to get it, but I'm sure the delay won't be long, right?
No, they already have it at Llewellyn, so I know that some of the reviewer copies and stuff like that have already gone out, and everybody should be getting their copy any day now. I don't even have my copies yet, so it's beyond my control. I know people are hating on me because they ordered this months ago, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's not my fault.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, there's times where you just have to let go of control because there's a reason for it out there in the universe, whatever it's going to be. So maybe there's a bigger, better push that's going to come with that delay. So
yeah,
that's what I'm kind of feeling. I'll have my fingers crossed for that. But I know it's going to be good. It's going to be real good. And I definitely want to get my hands on that new deck for sure.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited. So, I mean, I've never missed a deadline in my life. Like, just the word is spooky, right? Like deadline,
right?
Dun, dun, dun,
right.
You know,
makes the blood pressure rise a little bit.
It had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with me. There were a couple of tiny things that weren't right. So the publisher wanted to get everything that we could catch and all the mistakes and everything out of it. And, you know, it's hard because there's a lot of different recipes and stuff like that. So they just wanted to make sure everything was clear and was going to work and all of that stuff.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fine.
So can you give us,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Jess.
I was
So
just going to say, can you give us kind
a
of
little bit
a-
about it, you know, what kind of spreads or, you know, just tell us something about it.
Well, I mean, it's tarot every which way. So it's for every different type of witch out there. Like I mentioned the recipes. If you're a kitchen witch, there's recipes, like more than one recipe for each of the major arcana cards. There's meditations for each card. So which somebody said to me the other day, it's more like mind palaces. So it's like walking into those cards and seeing what you see and relating to it based on your own intuition and feeling and experience of really literally walking into that card. So that's a lot of fun. There's a whole bunch of different spreads that are in there, obviously classic ones, you know, 10 card, that kind of thing, Wheel of Fortune, that kind of thing. But then there's other real simple spreads for people to do, like yes, no, and past, present, future. And I got a special little fairy spread in there. Like the fairies kept talking to me while I was doing the book. They're like, put more fairy stuff in, put more fairy stuff in. So there's a lot of that stuff. You know,
Right.
I love fairies.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Definitely respect them 100%.
Yep.
You know.
Of course.
Well, my kitty's even named Faye. So
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep,
Nice.
absolutely.
No,
Yeah,
I've spent a lot
they're-
of time in the UK, so I know all about those Fae folk in depth. And yeah, so there's just something for everybody in there. There's herbs and gardens and musical notes and, you know, aromatherapy, everything you can think of to sort of delve more deeply into the cards based on your own witchy practice or your own interests and how that better helps you understand what the cards are trying to tell you.
That's really good because the cards are, I mean, just your basic. If you take your basic Rider-Waite tarot and the basic meanings, they are so. It's complex, and I'm always afraid that it turns new readers off when they see like there's so many meanings this way and then that way and reverse, and then you know if there's different cards on each side, there's a lot to remember. So it's nice to be able to have someone like you that's able to make that tradition a little more, or I should say, a little less daunting and a little more digestible, I guess. Yeah, because you want to get into it. With the way you were explaining it, you want to get into it. You want to become a part of whatever card you're studying for the day. It's not just okay. Well, you know, this is the Ace of Cups. Cool. You know, my emotions are going to do great. New things are coming. Well, there's more to it. So, and in a way, it does kind of become a lifestyle. It, you know, when you really, really read, it's not just sitting and reading a few cards. So being able to have a good, well-rounded book like what you have out, Lilith, is very, it's going to be very crucial. I think it's going to be huge because there's a lot of newcomers to tarot reading too. So
I think so.
See how your book gets everything out.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
I'm sorry. One of our viewers said user-friendly. And
User-friendly.
I think honestly, that's the perfect term because when you were describing it, it's so nice to be able to meditate with a card and that you have meditations in there and the recipes. I think it maybe gives you a little more interaction. So yeah, makes it user-friendly.
User-friendly.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I mean, you want to be able to access it from your own skill set and things that you're comfortable with. So that's great. And also, you know, I know a lot of times when you're doing readings and stuff, maybe the same card keeps coming up and you're like, what the hell does this mean?
Right. Exactly.
You know, so maybe make the recipe for that card or find the crystal for that card and see how that changes your outlook on and understanding of what that card really means. You know, how do you feel when you eat that food? How do you feel when you hold that crystal and put it in your pocket for the day?
Right.
You know, those kinds of things, really actionable steps that people can take to better understand their cards. And I think that's how we learn, right? By doing. So yes, there's the doing of laying out the cards, but there's also the doing of, oh, I'm going to look up what this musical note sounds like and play it and see where my mind goes when I hear that sound. What does it make me feel like mentally, physically, spiritually?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's, I mean, there's a whole different vibe to it when you put it that way as well. It'll resonate a lot deeper, and then you're also able to stop and look. And a lot of people don't think about this when they read, but it also tells you where in your life you're at on your life path. So, and a lot of people look over that part. It's like, you know, are you in a more major part of your life? Or are you in a minor part of your life? Are you, because your cards will tell you whether you're on the right track, off the right track, if you're going too slow, too fast. I mean, but it tells you all about your life path too, just with any of the random cards. So being able to get deeper into your cards, into the meaning, with how, like you said, with the way the foods are, the crystals, everything that comes with your descriptions, are going to make it a lot deeper for everyone.
Yeah, because it's all about your personal relationship to the cards too. You know, like I agree with you that people open the thing and there's so many definitions, you know, and there's so many different choices. Even when you go from deck to deck, it can mean completely opposite things. So it's really about figuring out what that means for you and what that means for you most of the time. It's not going to be the same thing 100% of the time, but at least, you know, most of the time this is going to happen. You know, I keep telling the story about when I got the Two of Cups one day, which for me always means marriage and proposals and things like that. And I wasn't in a relationship and I was living in New York. I was like, how's this going to play out? Like, and I'm on the subway and somebody's singing to me and he gets trying to get money on the subway and he gets down on one knee and takes my hand and proposes. And I was like, the universe got jokes. Like I'm not going to marry this guy on the subway I just met, but
it does.
Did manifest that way. It was still a proposal. It was still a marriage proposal. He took my hand, he kissed it, all of those kinds of things.
The universe does have humor. Absolutely.
It does. Lots of jokes. Lots of jokes.
Yeah, that is hilarious. And and you'll also start to see synchronicities when you start really delving into like a daily tarot practice. Things will start lining up and you'll notice things a lot more too.
Yeah, and I love what you said about, you know, where you are at your station in life. You know, if you're getting a lot of court cards, that means there's a lot of other people in your story, you know, for good or bad. You know, if you're getting a lot of major arcana, that means whatever you're going through, you have to go through this right now. This is kind of like destined from the universe and to a lot of ways out of your hands. So how do you handle that? How do you move through that? You know, knowing that this is just what's coming up, you know, how do you handle the people that are in your life for good or ill, you know? So it just helps you figure those kinds of things out.
Yep. And Jessica said they're tools to navigate life emotionally, mentally, and to make a physical movement, which, like you just said, absolutely.
Yes.
So, and you're definitely a tool. No, sorry.
No, it's great.
I think my connection is slow because I noticed that like things are clicking a little bit later for you guys. So it's probably my connection. I'm out in the country. So yeah, we're trying. If I end up getting kicked off the internet or something, then I'll try and pop back on.
You're not going to go off the internet.
I better not.
No, you're going to be just fine.
I hope so. This technology stuff, I tell you, this technology, I'm
telling you, you're going to be just fine. You're not going to be out in the universe.
We're good. We're good.
We're good.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Yes. So I really like, you know, I saw some recipes in one of the other books that you had written. Um, how do I pronounce it properly?
The
Orishas.
Orishas book, yeah.
Yes. I had some good recipes in those books too. But you're not just, I mean, you are a busy woman. I've seen you on the Discovery Channel,
Mm-hmm.
and you do a lot with movies and that sort of thing. Can you tell us about that? Because that's
Yeah,
real.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was in the All of Them Witches documentary, which was a lot of
Yeah, that's
fun.
one.
It's attached to the Mayfair Witches show on AMC, so that was a lot of fun. Just talking about Marie Laveau and some of the history of witches in New Orleans, so that was great. And
cool.
I also have my own YouTube show called the Pop Culture Show, where we discuss the crossroads between pop culture and the occult with my co-host Jason Winslade. We both have like a academic background and things like that, so we kind of approach it both from an academic way, but we've been friends for 20 years, so we also make fun of each other. So it's a good show.
That sounds amazing. I love it. So yeah, we'll have to put that up in the link or something. That way people
I
can
think
watch it. I definitely want to see it. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
on my
I
YouTube
saw
channel.
it one
I
night
sent you
on.
that.
okay.
I saw it one night on the Discovery Channel, and I said, "That's Lilith," you know. And I'm telling you, not only do you do the acting, you write books. You're also very active in your community with the plants. And do you rest?
No, I don't really rest very much. There's always something happening, right? Like, so there's always something to do. And, you know, I love gardening. I have a community garden here that's dedicated. It's called Bulbancha Blooms, which is the original name of New Orleans. Bulbancha, it means many tongues. So there were always many different indigenous tribes here, you know, gathering, celebrating, making a living. And so it's dedicated to them. And it's also dedicated to the enslaved Africans who were transplanted here to New Orleans. So we've got a lot of those types of plants, and I do workshops there and stuff. And I just met with some people last night as some sort of community garden group about how to grow it and do more workshops and things like that based on the Afro-ecology of the area and stuff, you know, because that was my minor at school. You know, I have a film degree, but before that I had an anthropology degree with a minor in plant science. So I've loved plants as long as I can remember. My whole family loves plants. We're all like crazy mad plant people. So
all the plant babies. There was quite a bit of there's a lot of celebrations and festivals and everything in New Orleans in the spring and the summer, aren't there? That's I catch snippets of it on Facebook, but I haven't made it down to New Orleans quite yet. So I will one day.
Yeah, we have so much here. Somebody asked me the other day, so what are you getting ready for? I'm like, we're always getting ready for something, right? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
We have Mardi Gras in the beginning of the year, but then we have Midsummer Mardi Gras coming up. We have a huge celebration for Samhain, Halloween, you know, Day of the Dead. We do giant things. I'm a vampire emissary for the Endless Night Vampire Ball. So that's always fun to dress up and do vampy type things. And, you know, it's just nonstop. You know, I'm a member of one of the Mardi Gras walking crews. Well, I hope to be a member. I'm on the edge of being a member. You have to be asked, but I marched with them last year. Crew de Vue. They're kind of like the political and the lusty sexual jokes crew. So we were the Supreme Court, and you know, which was fantastic.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm going to offend somebody, but one of our Mardi Gras throws was like little teeny Mardi Gras babies with hangers. So I apologize for offending people.
Oh my goodness. But it does
it
make
was
a
so
point.
great to have these like bro dudes like, give me something, baby. And I'd be like, here's a baby for you, sir. You're going to need this.
Right. Yeah, because you know what those guys want. So guys like that, yeah, that's absolutely.
Please don't reproduce, sir. Yes.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, my best friend and I do that. It was a lot of fun. I wanted to do it for a really long time. So it's great that we can, and we work on the float and everything. So it was really, really fantastic. We made a giant Ruth Gator Ginsburg. So it was like an alligator dressed like Ruth Ginsburg. It was great.
Oh my goodness. Yes. And you're in Alligator Central down there too, with everything. So
Yeah, they
that
keep
is so
walking out of the
appropriate. I
bayou.
love it. I love it. Do you have a picture or anything on Facebook of that? Because now I have to see it. I have the mental image, but now I have to see the
The Ruth Gator Ginsburg. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's back
Okay.
when Mardi Gras was, which I think was March 1st this year. So
Okay.
it's a
All
couple
right.
of weeks before that we do that, because I think people think Mardi Gras is, one day, and it is one
Mhm.
day, but there's parades starting there with Epiphany, which is also Joan of Arc's birthday. So they do a Joan of Arc parade, which is really amazing. It's so fantastic to see all these strong, powerful Joan of Arc women, and young kids dressed like Joan of Arc, and just sort of remembering her and what she stood for. So it starts with that on Epiphany and then goes up until Mardi Gras Day. So you've got weeks and weeks of parades. It's a lot.
That is incredible.
I'm not complaining.
No,
but,
no.
it's
I
all
don't know.
partying and costumes and whatever. But
I don't think I've ever heard of any of those parades besides Mardi Gras. Like, everybody knows New Orleans for Mardi Gras, the vampires, Magic After Midnight type of stuff. But the Joan of Arc parade, the other things, especially like the cross cultural things, that I don't really think that gets out up here. And for a lot of our viewers, we're here in Indiana. Lilith Dorsey is in New Orleans, Louisiana. So big space difference between North and South. But
yes,
that I would like to see a lot more on that, and maybe get that out. I would definitely go to a Joan of Arc parade.
Yeah, it's sweet because they're
100%.
smaller. It's not like those crazy parades on Mardi Gras Day. It's a walking parade. So there's not really, there's smaller floats that are either pulled by hand, or Crew de Vue, we have our floats pulled by mules. That's just the tradition. So it's, again, smaller things and whatnot. One of my favorite parades is Chewbacca's. That's the sci-fi parade. That's the biggest walking parade. So that's so much fun. They have like pink Chewbacca's marching. They have, the Cruise of Leia.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It's so much fun. I'm going to join Women of Wakanda, which always makes the newspaper, because all my Black sisters look fabulous dressed like the women of Wakanda. So
there you go.
it's great. There's a crew of Buffy. Like, it's nuts. There's over 200 different crews in that parade. So, everything you can think of, possibly in the sci-fi verse is represented. So it's so much fun. And it's, again, for me, it's better than going out to those big giant parades where you're wall-to-wall people and you have to get there before dawn to find your seat, and you're still getting elbowed in the head, and all of that mobness. Yeah.
It's crazy, but I love it. I love that there's so much diversity with all that. Like, how fun, because we don't have that up here. It just doesn't. Now we seem boring, Raven, don't we? We seem very boring.
I lived in Alabama. I raised my boys in Alabama, and I never, ever, ever went to New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to change that. I'm gonna have to go. Absolutely.
Yeah, come and visit. Yeah.
Yes.
Jessica says it's a Gasparilla parade. What is that?
I don't know what that is.
Gasparilla? Gasparilla.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
I mean, it could be I told you there's hundreds of parades. It could be a parade I don't know about.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, all we have here is festivals.
Yeah. I think we have Rib Festival going on right now. I think last week was German Fest. I don't remember. There's so many that they just kind of run together.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to go home to get some better excitement, in New England. So
she said it's similar to what you're talking about in Tampa, Florida.
Okay. Oh, in Tampa, Florida. Okay.
Yep. There we go.
Nice.
But I also wonder too if a lot of the differences, even in between like the southern states, there's so much history packed in those small areas. and for so long, they were all, the New Orleans people were over here, and Georgians were over here. South Carolina, they were pretty well like kept over. As far as my grandpa always told me, he's like, we always just minded our own business. But I don't know about that. But it blows my mind still that, even though we're a country and all the states are so close together, we're so vastly different. The cultures and the traditions and the festivals and celebrations. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. What are one of your or some of your favorite traditions and festivals? You said that the vampire and masquerade and everything. So around Samhain, I assume.
Yes. Yep. This year we're going to be Day of the Dead because Taylor Swift is coming to town for Samhain. So we're going to have all the Swifties here.
Oh boy.
So they've moved both of the vampire balls into the weekend after Samhain. So that'll be nice though. It'll be great. It'll be even bigger and better because we're moving it. And I'm happy about that. But I mean, there's so many that I love. One of the things that we do on Mardi Gras Day is we walk, not officially, but we walk with the crowd with the Northside Skull and Bones gang that my dear friend Sunpai Barnes runs. And basically that is a tradition where they mask skeleton, which is they dress up like skeletons in top hats and things like that, and they do a processional singing and drumming, and what they used to do was knock on doors and wake up the children and scare them a little bit, right? Did you do your homework? Did you listen to your mom? That kind of thing, but everybody knows now. We don't know what doors they're going to knock on, and we don't know which way they're going to go, but pretty much everybody knows what's happening. So the kids are pretty much just happy to go out. As the one time the kid jumped up and started drumming on one of the drums, and it's just really lovely. We started doing it, I think probably about 15 years ago, and now it's grown to everybody is there, all the news channels, National Geographic. There's thousands of people wandering through the streets before dawn on Mardi Gras morning with this crew. So, and it's an all male crew. They teach, the traditions of Louisiana. It was started over 100 years ago. They just had their anniversary. So it's just beautiful to me to see things like that were done for the ancestors for so long. And they're still carried out today. And I think that's something we really don't see that often, especially in the U.S., especially traditions that were brought over and, carried out by enslaved African people and things like that. So that's a really beautiful thing to me. And I love doing that. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Last time I got to dance with them and ended up in the news. So that was beautiful. I'm like, yay, my picture's on the news. Yay. So that was great. Yeah.
I think I saw that on your Facebook page.
Yes. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm jealous that we're so far away. But then again, just I'm gonna have to take a road trip for research purposes. Science. Yep, 100%.
Research purposes. I like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
research purposes.
That to me is something that's fun, but it also has history. It has spirituality. It's honoring the ancestors. They always stop at the, notable ancestors' houses of people that have passed in the recent years and things like that. So it really does teach the whole community and all the tourists that are out and everything about the history of the city in a beautiful way that I think they can't get anywhere else. And I hope they don't miss that, while they're drinking and reveling and everything else. But at least it's happening. So it's there for them to see if they want to.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And I spent some time down south growing up. My grandparents are from South Carolina, and anytime we were able to just kind of, it didn't matter whether we were driving through and stopping by a battlefield or stopping by old homes or some cemeteries, anything like that. The beauty and reverence that you have for that the culture, the time, the anything that has to do with it. It's just so beautiful. And when you take time to stop and remember that, that's not just stuff that happened in a history book. Those were people, and their ancestors are still living, or their descendants are still living today. And and that everything still has ties. And, you know, I can go into like the whole time is not linear thing. We don't have a whole lot of time for that. But yeah, it is still very much alive. They're still very much with us. But like I even like when I went to Gettysburg last August, I stopped by this tree that had bullet holes in it. And I'm like, I'm touching the holes and messing with the tree. And I'm like, you know, the memories that this tree has, it's phenomenal. So everything down your way is just so beautiful. And I would probably be the person. I'd be standing out in the middle of the street just looking at the really pretty old houses and just being in love. Like I'm okay with doing that. I'm that kind of history nerd. Like look at that architecture and just
that's what I was going to say.
half an
I
hour.
love Southern architecture.
Yep.
Oh,
I do
it's
too.
beautiful.
I do too.
It's beautiful.
100%.
Of course, I like New England architecture too. I mean,
I love those old Victorian houses. I love old houses, no matter what.
Yep.
I was doing an event, and I said, because I have a B&B on the other side of my house. My house is a double shotgun, and I was doing an event where I was like, my house is a double shotgun, and everybody's looking at me like, what? I'm like, no, that's the type of the house down here. It means you open the door and you could shoot a gun all the way straight from the front to the back. So it's like there's a straight line from the front to the back. That's why it's called a shotgun. But I think the people at my workshop thought I was going to shoot them if they came my house.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
If I was going to shoot you, I probably wouldn't tell you, you know. Come to my house. I have a shotgun.
Oh, so you have an Airbnb on the other side of your house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so if we want to go to New Orleans, then we would just check in and see if we could get in your Airbnb.
Yeah, message me. It's for friends and family only because I don't open it up to strangers, but you guys are obviously family. So
oh, thank you. That's wonderful. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, we're only about 2 miles from the quarter, so it's not in the middle of the craziness with the drunken revelry and the vomit and everything like that of Bourbon Street. But you're only a 10-minute ride away, you know, if you want to go deal with all of that and then come back. And
no, we're good. I am too old for that. I'm too tired for that. You know, I don't survive much past 9, 10 o'clock, and I definitely don't do drunken revelry at all.
Yeah, it's a lot. No. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like locals don't ever do that.
I think when we just like to sightsee. I mean, I'm older, so you know, I've had my day of drunken revel. And it was fun. Been there, done that. Got a T-shirt, several T-shirts.
Yeah, right. Oxygen, the IV bag, all of that.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit crazy. Yeah.
It is. It's definitely it's a different kind of party too down there during those times. That a lot of people. Because a lot of people think, you know, it's just drinking and bar partying. Oh, there's a lot more to it, and I do believe that. The ancestral culture in New Orleans is so thick and heavy that I'm definitely, well, being psychic medium, like when you're drinking, you're a little more susceptible to influence from spirits and things like that. Yeah. So, you know, I think a lot of I don't want to say that anything bad would happen, but you know, I think that there could be some happenings too where people could get hurt even spiritually or psychically down there because everything is so much more powerful, so much more potent. But I say that mostly because the population was so dense for so long too. Up here, like where we're at and out west, like there wasn't a whole lot of people. So when you get coastal towns, maritime towns are another one that's like that, you know, where sailors were drinking, old pirate towns like Savannah, stuff like that. Yeah. Anytime you have a lot of very densely packed spiritual places and there's alcohol involved over time, and then now these ancestors and spirits are saying, hey, you know, we did that one time, you know, let us show you a good time. And then it becomes a real good time. So so like things are different down in places like where you're at in Savannah, out, especially in Salem. That's definitely a
sure.
different place too. So, but yeah, so I think a lot of people kind of get more than they bargain for sometimes when they go to,
Oh
to
yeah, I
party
think
and
it
things
can
like
be a
that.
lot. It
Yeah.
can be a
Well,
lot for people.
there are spirits that well, they drank and stuff like that when
Mhm.
they were here on the earthly plane,
Right.
that they do inhabit bars and stuff
Mhm.
to be able to feel that again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bars
Oh
are
sure.
so common
We
for
have the
haunting.
oldest bar in the world, Jean Lafitte's. It was again owned by a pirate. So it's still in operation. You can go there. There's all these
Mhm.
weird legends about like you can find your true love if you leave. I think it's a shot of whiskey or something on the bar and pray for him and all of these things.
Mhm.
But you can tell just being in it for 2 seconds how haunted it is and how many
Yeah.
spirits really never left, right? Like
Yeah.
went for
Oh yeah. Yep.
they stayed
Yeah.
past last call, they stayed for eternity, so it's
Exactly.
definitely that kind of feeling. But we're an old city. I think too, part of it is I just did a workshop for Christopher Penzak's people came up, and I was explaining to them that it's a different energy because we're below sea level. So like that's not really
Yeah.
something you get in most cities.
Mm-mm.
So I think we call it tipsy. I think there's a way in which you already feel kind of a little bit drunk, a
Mhm.
little bit like, your spidey senses are on prickles, and
Yeah.
you just have to figure out how to navigate that.
Mhm. Yeah, and then with having all the like the swampland and everything too in Louisiana, that's a lot of water. And water amplifies it amplifies spiritual activity, it amplifies psychic activity.
Yeah.
Anything that has to do with anything on that side of the veil is going to be amplified with more water. So yeah, with it being below sea level, I can absolutely understand that.
Yeah, definitely. It's very
Yep.
intense. It's very intense dealing
Yep.
with all of that. But, you get
Absolutely.
used to it. I mean, where I am is like right smack dab next to the canal and within
Mhm.
walking distance of the river. And then we're all within about maybe a half-hour drive from the lake. So, or the
Oh
Gulf,
wow.
So it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yep. Right there.
okay. We're
Yep.
really, in the middle of all these different types of water coming together and just sort of mingling and whatnot. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely. That
Yeah,
is
Rhode
amazing.
Island's like that too, because Rhode Island has that old White Horse Tavern.
Mm-hmm.
You walk
Mhm.
into White Horse Tavern in Newport, Rhode Island, and you just feel the atmosphere and you can feel the energy in there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh yeah, definitely. I lived in Rhode Island for a really long time, like over a decade. My grandmother was from Rhode Island.
Mhm.
My oldest daughter was born there. Rhode Island red,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I've got
Yeah,
yeah,
some
it's definitely
Narragansett.
old.
Yeah. I've got some Narragansett ancestors from Rhode Island too. So
Oh,
yep,
the
nice.
Narragansett natives. So
yep.
not in
Oh,
this life. I wasn't there, but maybe in the past. So
I
with
was
you
raised
ladies.
in Rhode Island. My mother and my sister just came to visit me from Rhode Island.
oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I was raised in Rhode Island, and we had a different way of thinking than when I moved to Alabama. It was really, really strange because the things that I believed in Rhode Island, I grew up with paganism and things like that. And
Mhm.
Alabama, they were more the Bible Belt and,
Yes.
Mhm.
you know,
Yep. Yep.
that sort of thing.
Yep.
But
But there's still superstitions everywhere you go too. Like and yeah. Yep.
yeah,
Definitely. I mean, there's a reason it's Lovecraft country. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yep. Big
yeah,
time.
And if you don't really know it, I know both of you know it, but if you don't really know it, like you don't understand that. But once, you've been there for an extended amount of time, you're like, oh yeah, I understand where all these weird, creepy things came from.
because actually, I think that living in Rhode Island and growing up in Rhode Island, I think our neighborhood was on some kind of, I don't, strange place because our whole neighborhood was haunted. And we saw a lot of paranormal. And there's so much paranormal in Rhode Island. You would think, there's a lot of paranormal in Salem, which there is.
Yeah.
But in Rhode Island, there's what we had a few movies come from Rhode Island.
Yes.
Had the Conjure House.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What was that? What was that other house that people lived? What was it? Was it Amityville or?
No, that's in Long
I think
Island.
that was Connecticut. Or no, that was Long Island. And then there was another one in Connecticut. The Warrens were from Connecticut, but yeah. All of New England is pretty rife with like
it is
three major ones. And then you've got the Lizzie Borden house in Massachusetts too. That
my great grandmother lived down the street from Lizzie Borden. So she wants me to tell you now that Lizzie didn't do it. It was the maid's boyfriend. He was always sketchy. Nobody trusted him. They had to lock the door when he was around. And then that happened. Yeah.
My grandmother used to live next to Lizzie Borden too.
That's so funny. So I guess look at this. Maybe my great grandmother lived next to them too, because she said she was like 2-3 houses down. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's hilarious. See, this always happens to me. I find out like, oh, look at this. Our ancestors knew each other, you know, and whenever I really like somebody, that's what I end up discovering eventually.
And then our ancestors
it's weird.
knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we always come back to the same circle of people, you know, our spirit family and everything. Absolutely.
Our soul family. Yeah.
Our soul family. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's so wonderful. I love hearing all the little synchronicities that click together between people, and even when we meet randomly and everything, it's never really random.
No, it's not. It's
random.
Not at all.
There's no such thing as coincidence.
No. And I believe it is the plan of the divine.
Exactly. Everything is planned out. So, but yeah, and that was another, you know, one of those learn to let go things. So, you know, like we said earlier, Lilith, you know, with you letting go, I think things are going to go really well. Things are going to get
that's where I'm at with it. I'm just, you know, it's out of my control. There's so much that we have to deal with as spiritual people, as people in general. That's out of our control. So we can freak out, or we can just, you know, buck up and make it through. So that's where I'm at with this. But I'm excited about this book though. And I'm not really that upset that it's late, because I have so many fantastic events planned around the book. I'm going to be back in New York City in September, hopefully doing like a book signing. And also I'm partnering with a dry bar to have sort of mocktails based on some of the cards and stuff like that. And we're going to do other sort of cooking and reading and poetry events surrounding the book. So just stay tuned. We're going to be promoting this thing for a long time.
Good. I am so excited for you. This is great. So, and it just seems like you get better. Yeah. And you just keep getting better every time you come out with something new. You've been doing this for so long, and it just keeps escalating, everything that you're doing. And I love it. I love watching you grow.
Well, I get bored, you know, honestly, I do. So
you're so creative. You're so creative. So yeah, you're doing something, you would get bored.
Yeah, so I want to do something different. So this is where we're at. You know, one of my favorite parts in the book, I mean, based on my love of gardening, is there's a ritual gardens for each of the cards, which I think is really fascinating, you know. And my editor said to me, who's going to want to know how to make a garden for the cards? And I said that, I'm one of the judges at the garden show. I said that to the garden people at the show, and they were like, we don't even know about tarot cards, but that sounds fascinating.
Right. It's a different technique and a different reason, and like, you know, something to contemplate on while you're gardening too. Like, a new meditative practice. How wonderful is that? I love it. I'm all about it.
You know, nurturing something, understanding this plant goes with this card. How does this plant grow? Does it like sun? Does it like shade? Does it like a lot of water? Does it like no water? You know, does it like the other plants that it's supposed to go with? Does it hate all of the plants? You know, they're living things. They have different things that they like. And as you were saying before, cards mean something so different when they're next to other cards. So seeing how that plant reacts when it's next to different inputs, I think is really fascinating. fascinating and also beautiful, right? Like there's those gigantic tarot gardens in Italy, which are mainly mosaics, but you know, you can walk through them and check out all the cards and just sort of vibe with it on a different level. So that's what I was thinking of with these gardens.
Yeah. Yeah, that is absolutely wonderful. And I love too that there's so many different ways to learn things. Like some people are audio, some people are visual, some people have to be like the hands-on tactile. And with that method, whether it's cooking or gardening, or there's you've implemented ways of being able to learn the same thing in different ways, so that what will sink in for one person who's a kitchen witch will be something different for the gardener, and on down the line. I love that you've done that. That is so creative. And I don't think I've even seen anything like that before. That is a very new concept. I have yet to see anything like that.
Yeah. I
So
mean, I think part of the idea was born for, I was doing a reading for somebody who had a special needs teenager, and they were having a really hard time communicating with them. There were some violent episodes where she was trying to calm him down and it wasn't working. And we were doing these readings and it just came up that this was going to help him. So obviously he's not going to understand what this card means, and she didn't even really understand what the cards meant because she didn't know them very well, but she understood, oh well, it'll help if I put this essential oil under his bed on a cotton ball, it'll help if I feed him these foods. And when she started doing that, he really did calm down and their relationship got so much better. So I started thinking about, okay, well, I'm going to need to be able to explain these concepts and have people understand them no matter what their comprehension or physical and mental ability is. If somebody's 2 years old, they know what it's like if they smell a rose, or they know what it's like when they hold a piece of rose quartz. So maybe they don't understand this grand concept of love, but they know what that feeling is like when they interact with those things. So that's what I really wanted to figure out. And that's why it took me so long. You know, I had that session with that woman, oh geez, it must have been 25 years ago at this point. So in all of those years, I've just been trying to figure out and testing things out and trying it in different situations and seeing what really worked for people across the board.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
I love it. That is a lot of time and detail, and I mean, that in itself is its own craft right there. That is,
yeah, it was a lot, but you know, I mean, I do a lot of readings for people, so I was doing it anyway. I might as well figure it out.
right. But yeah, that is absolutely incredible.
I think it's a neat way to learn the cards. Honestly, I think it's very unique. I love we garden. Tim, my husband, we garden, and I have plants, all kinds of plants in the house, and then I love recipes. And gosh, if I could associate a recipe with a card, then I could actually grasp that concept so much better.
Yeah.
You know, than sitting down traditionally studying it.
Right. Right. And then you can share it with others. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a holiday and you're getting the Wheel of Fortune for how it's going to go. Well, make that recipe, put that on the table, share it with everybody. This is so we understand where we're at in the wheel and where the changes coming in our life are going to manifest and how to best utilize that, you know?
I like that idea.
Yep, absolutely.
Really, and I don't think I've seen any tarot learning book that tackles it in that manner. And I think that it's so clever because, I mean, it hits all your senses too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wanted it to be, originally I wanted it to be a art show. But, you know, if anybody's listening and wants to give me a gallery, I'm here for it. But I used to do an event run by the Association for Consciousness Exploration called Winter Star. And they used to, it was a hotel gathering, but then there were these little cabins. And one year they did this thing where each cabin was different chakra themed. So you could go like in the root chakra cabin where everything was red and lusty and stuff like that, you know, and work your way through the chakras, which I thought was fascinating. But then I started thinking about, what if we did this tarot as a sensory experience where there were different stations, and you could go to the station and hear the musical note and eat the food and smell the smell and, you know, hear the musical note and see all the things. So that never happened. So it just turned into a book. So. But I'm still up
I
for
love
the
that
gallery
thought,
if
though.
anybody wants to give me one.
Yeah. That's like a really, really neat experience, though. But yeah, I definitely want to get a hold of the book as soon as it comes out. I'm really excited about it. I mean, and just the fact that there's so many different ways of helping someone to learn the craft, whether it's through cooking, gardening, vice versa, sense, music. There's so many different languages within those methods of learning that you presented, and just genius. I'm sitting here in shock and awe, and like that starstruck feeling. I like, yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, so hopefully it will be out.
Yeah, people should have it soon. So, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I pre-ordered it, so I'm going to get it very soon. And I don't have to worry about it because it will come in divine time.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yep, when it's supposed to. It'll hit. I have a feeling there's going to be like an event, like socially, that's coming up, and your book is going to end up like hitting right on top of it at the perfect time. So I don't know what's coming, but I just have a feeling that it's going to. I just have a feeling that's like what is being whispered in my ear. That something is coming. I can't see what, but a lot of people's attentions are going to be turned that way, and then your book is going to land right on top of them. Yeah, it's going to work. It'll work very well.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and I trust your intuition and your messages. So, yes,
that's beautiful.
My
beautiful.
guys, they get a little bit loud sometimes, but yeah, I'm excited for you.
I'm excited too. You know, so much work, and you know, like I said, decades and decades of reading for other people and studying the cards and trying to understand them went into it. You know, and one of the things I'm really most proud of is I've been doing divination interviews for 15 years on my blog, Voodoo Universe. So those were also updated by the people I interviewed and added to the book. So we've got people like Matt Oren in there. We've got Deb Lip. We've got Courtney Alexander. We've got all of those people. You know, Dorothy Morrison, we've got all of those people giving their best tarot and divination advice too in the situation, which I think is invaluable because I know what I know, but I also know I don't know everything. And there's going to be other practitioners out there that also have really good ideas. And I wanted to highlight that. And I really wanted to let people see that, you know, you don't have to listen to just one person, or you don't have to just follow the rules in the little teeny book. You don't have to throw the book away either. You can do whatever you want.
Well, you know, I always I learned different traditions from different people. And I kind of treat it like an AA meeting. I take what I want and I leave the rest.
Yeah, leave the rest.
Yep. And I believe that, you know, not just one tradition is the truth. I believe that all traditions contain the truth. And whatever resonates with you is what you should pay attention to. And I believe that this book is going to resonate with me.
Yeah, I do too. Think so. I mean, I'm so glad you mentioned that thing from program. I spent a lot of years in the rooms myself, you know, and I think there's a lot of those things that apply to tarot as well. You know, like it works if you work it. Like if you really put in the time and the effort to understand what the cards are saying for you specifically, then you can be so much more effective in your life. You know, I'm not saying everything's going to be, you know, a cakewalk, but you can understand what's happening and act accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has sort of direction. It does help. It really does help. And, you know, and tarot doesn't always have to be gospel either. Like sometimes they're right on, spot on. And then sometimes it's suggestions because you have choices, you have free will. So, it gives you an idea of different choices that you can make. It's an amazing tool. But I wanted to ask before we run out of time. So can you tell a little more about the recipes? What kind of recipes you have?
Oh, all different kinds of recipes. There's a lot of ancestral recipes in there, a lot of recipes from my grandmother who grew up in New England. There's a lot of newer recipes that are healthy, vegetarian recipes and things like that I thought was really important to put in there. There's a little bit of everything, and that's really what I wanted to do. I mean, obviously some of them are going to be more familiar to people than others, but I really tried to put something for everyone in there. And I did them mainly by getting the foods that were associated with it, looking at some of the popular recipes. Obviously, things like hermit bars for the hermit card, which for those of you who are not old enough to remember hermit bars, they're these weird like molasses cookies things.
But I love those. Well, from being from New England, molasses cookies and molasses. Yeah, I love molasses, and it's good for you. It staves off colds and
yes,
it's very
does.
So there's salads, there's everything you can think of, roasts, everything you can think of, a little bit of everything. And some of them were harder than others, so some of the major arcana only have 2 recipes while other ones have 4. I did have a little bit of a fight with my editor. She's like, yeah, it has to be the same number. I was like, no, it doesn't. Like, who says that? They all have to be 2 recipes. Some of them have 4 recipes. Some of them have 2. People are smart. They'll figure it out. Like,
yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And, not everybody's going to be able to go through and make every single recipe.
Sure.
Page by page. So yeah, it's very much a, pick what calls to you at the moment, like you do with any other meal, but especially when you're making a magical meal, you go with what you need at the moment, what calls to you. And sometimes you have to modify the recipe. If you're being told to add more cinnamon, then add more cinnamon by all means. Like, and I think a lot of people are afraid to kind of shake things up and move around a bit because they're afraid to listen to their own intuition too. So there's definitely
I always say that.
It would be interesting because I always like to have solstice parties and brunches, and it would be so interesting to have a magical brunch.
I would.
Everybody makes dishes from that. Yes, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I think I'm going to do that, and then we'll just have to send Lilith pictures.
Oh yeah, send me pictures.
Yes,
I would love that.
That would be really cool. That would be really neat. Or do like a little tarot, like a tarot type of holiday or something, like a holiday get together, tarot themed, with recipes from everything. I love it. Yeah.
No, it'll be good. It'll be good.
Yep.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that is exciting. So, well, Lilith, is there anything you would like to leave our viewers with? Any words of wisdom? And well, you have so many words of wisdom. So now we'll have to narrow that down there. Because you've got books of wisdom. So, but what would you like to leave our viewers with today?
Just that I hope they like the book. I hope they take what they need and leave the rest. All my books are designed to just sort of go to whatever part you're thinking about or dealing with right now, or you can read it from cover to cover, but just interact with it however you want to. Play to your strengths, play to your witchy, needs, desires, wants in that moment, and then expand your practice. And I'm sure you'll be happy with that. And I'll be happy too.
Yeah. And for those who would feel overwhelmed, because it is a big subject. Tarot is big. What would you say to somebody who is trying to learn and they get overwhelmed? What is a good bit of advice for taking on smaller chunks? I would say.
I mean, I do like the daily pull, really just one card, because then you can, and definitely write that down or record that in your phone somewhere or whatnot, and then just see how the day plays out for you. And also, once you're done doing that, take the card, put it under your pillow, see what you dream, see how your sleep is with that card there. So you're getting the full run of what that card means. This is what the card means in the daylight. This is what the card means when I'm sleeping on it, literally. And how that relates to what actually happened in your day. Because again, it may be one of those 30 meanings that you're used to looking at that they say in the deck, or it may be something else, but that's what it is for you. And especially if you keep a record of it, you can see that there are patterns showing up. Now, I am not earth sign. I'm always around earth signs. So I'm not the person I had somebody who had 10 years of readings in the phone. He's not with us any longer, but I admire that. But no, I just keep a mental thing. Oh, okay. Every time I see this, this is what happens.
Right. And then for like the dreaming, after they sleep with it under their pillow, to do it like a dream journal as well, would you say?
Yes. Make sure you've got paper there when you wake up. So if there is anything, you can record it right away, because that stuff's going to go flying out the window as soon as you get out of that bed. So.
Yep, exactly.
Now, I have a question for you. When I was taught, whenever you use your tarot, you kind of use some sort of protection. Some people light a candle. Some people protect themselves with a protective egg or something like that. Would you recommend that when somebody is especially first doing the tarot?
Oh, yeah. It's so important. It's so important. I mean, I mentioned it's extra important for those who are doing healing readings or healing witches or things like that. But there's certainly basic instructions there for doing a tarot altar. And that contains all of the elements. So you're going to have the candle. You're going to have the blessing water. You're going to have the sacred incense and all of those things to both cleanse yourself and the cards before and after the reading. And then it's also a separate space. So you're not bringing that energy into your house where there might be other chaos, there might be other people, there might be crazy animals, things like that, so you have your dedicated tarot space, you lay out your cloth in the right color for whatever you're doing at the moment, and then work it there, and then you can take it down afterwards.
Awesome.
Yep, there you go. Sounds good. I love it.
Well, it has been so awesome seeing you again. We hope to have you on the show again.
Yay.
You don't have to write a book to come on our show.
Thank you. Oh, and I do want to say, if anybody wants to email me at Voodoo Universe, I have these lovely little flyers that have a recipe on the back. So I'll send that to people. And I also have stickers for tarot every which way. So anybody who wants to email me, voodoouniverse@yahoo.com, I'll send you a sticker. I'll send you one of these lovely little flyers for the book.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
But it's been so wonderful. Time has just flown right by. I mean,
it was quick.
I love seeing you again. So we'll have to think of another subject that we could have you on the show for.
Right?
Well, maybe if you have time, or we could do like a pre-record or something, but maybe something around like Samhain or one of the holidays, and you could speak more in depth about that. That would be wonderful.
I would love to do that.
That would be that would also help to clear up a lot of like misconceptions and old like the Hollywood versions of things too, because I want to get the truth there as well. So that is very important, and I want people to see.
I love that idea. I love talking to you both. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
And we look forward to the next time. And I look forward to my book. I know it's coming soon, and it's coming with a divine plan, just like Jessamy says.
Yep, it's going to hit, and it's going to hit at the right moment. And it's going to hit the right people. So,
yay.
All righty. And we'd like to thank our audience tonight for your participation and for your viewing us. We love you, honor, and respect you. And we love Miss Lilith.
Yes,
so
very much.
Good night, everybody.
Peace.
Thank you, and good night.
We hope you have enjoyed watching Soulfire Ascension with Raven and Jessamy. Please do like, share, and subscribe. You can also listen to Soulfire Ascension on Spotify podcasts. Soulfire Ascension is sponsored by ravenshealingarts.com.